We got 20 Rotarians here today, and Lisa has a guest. Paulina, how do you pronounce your last name? I know. I found out something. You learn things. Lisa met Paulina at Wine Styles. I didn't know Lisa drank. Well, imagine that. You want to tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Paulina. I moved here in 2018 from Ghana. And it's been great so far, and I'm looking forward to more doors open and more opportunities. And I'm glad to be here.
Welcome to City Rotary. We have soon-to-be member Glenn White, still a guest. Welcome, Glenn.
He's a member.
He's a member now.
We didn't have
Oh, well, he hasn't had an official induction. He's a member.
We had the haze. But you still got to go through the haze. And then our speaker, Gene, will be introduced by Tom here in a little bit.
So, thank you. Rick sent me an email at 2 o'clock this morning. He's traveling for the next 2 weeks. So, birthdays. Christy Milholland had a birthday on the 27th. And Frank Cheney has a birthday on October 3rd. I don't think he's here. He's usually on Zoom. And then Brad and Sarah, you have an anniversary.
Oh, yeah, Saturday.
All right.
Do you have any plans?
We're going to go out to eat. I'm open for recommendations.
Better get a reservation. I recommend.
Yeah, that's a recommendation.
Yes.
Okay. Bobby, you don't get to eat, but we'll let you eat. Anybody have happy dollars?
Oh, we can do happy dollars. Happy dollars. Send up demand. Robert.
Yep. Thank you.
I'd like to come to Rotary and see my neighbor.
Well, that's right. That's right. I don't do many happy dollars because I don't have many dollars. I thought I would borrow one from Chip this morning. Real quick, I won't steal Tom's thunder, but just want to give one for Gene Brown. Gene is, we're going to hear just a minute, obviously a friend of a lot of us here. Gene, through the organization, community housing, great work in our city. The proof is in the testimonials from the homeowners. Rotary and this city and this world need more people like Gene Brown. We all know that. So looking forward to hearing Gene. All right. I got a couple here. It should be more, and I'll catch up later. But last week, I told you about my deer hunting trip, and I left the impression that I shot a doe. I did not shoot a doe. Right behind the doe was this massive buck. He scored 200 points on the FCI scale. Beautiful deer. So he's dead. He should be here in April. Maybe I'll bring him by for me. And then the other thing is I put solar on my house back in May. It took a month and a half to get it up and running. You know, all this other kind of stuff. My electrical bill normally runs $250 to $600 a month. My July bill, which is one of the highest, is $32. And my August bill with an electrical problem in the system, they didn't get all the kinks out, was $16. Normally would be $350 to $400. So if you want to talk solar sometime, give me a call. I was talking to Brad this morning about can I charge the test, but that may come later.
I'll come over once a week and plug it in.
There you go. Great. You know, early adopter. Here's where you
Just wait till next week. This was for Matthew for accommodating us. We did a fishing trip, Chris, Neil, Matthew, and I. That's why Chris is here. He's got 3 days to make up. But I've been fishing a lot my whole life, and I thought I'd seen everything. And Chris Neal, with Matthew as a witness, hooked a live shrimp while he was fishing. I've never seen that. He's popping a cork, hooks a shrimp, reels it in. Wow, shrimp.
Hard to do.
Yes.
I think the hook is a shrimp.
You know,
Brad.
So I started last week in leadership Greensboro. So I got included in the 2022 class. And Robbie pointed out that I made it in the paper. So I had to give a happy dog. So happy to be in the program.
change is in the uniforms bucket. Bobby's trying to take my change.
Oh, that's right. We owe you change.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
So one is for Judge Hassel and our member orientation induction ceremony on Monday in Satellite Group. Tom, and we had Tom Phoenix, Tom Richardson, Steve, Chip was there. So a lot of guys in this club were there, but Judge Hassel, as usual, did a great job with the induction ceremony. We inducted 6 new members, and they have, I think, a couple of applications in process. And then the other is I went to the Earth, Wind, and Fire concert last night at the White Oak Amphitheater, and it was fabulous. And I made it here this morning. Gigi, I guess she's retired, so she stayed in bed because she didn't go with my group. We had a great time. That was it.
All right. Well, I threw $1 in here. Tomorrow morning, at 6 o'clock, hitting the road with Tom Richardson, Bennett Bracken, Greg Laughlin, all guys I grew up with, or spent my early years with. We didn't grow up with. But we'll be passing right through Smyrna, North Carolina, Ross Geller's hometown. He gave me a place to eat on the way. But we'll be catching a ferry going to Portsmouth Island, and catching some red drum, and maybe hopefully catching some of the fish that Guy Robondo threw back last week. I'll be looking for that shrimp. Well, Grandpappy said, you know, light travels faster than sound. That's why some people appear to be intelligent until you hear them speak.
You know what? I'll
throw it in there now.
Yes.
I want my prizes.
You want your prizes, or you're going to do better? All right, so the next week of the football pool edition, the sheets are on the table. So I did something a little different this week. If there's not enough, there's a couple sheets back on the other table. So everybody get one. First, thanks for participation. It was much improved. Made it a little harder for me to grade the paper. But that's okay. That's what I want. So I threw you a little, as I said, bent it up a little bit this week. You'll see a game that throws a little different twist on football on the scorecard. And you might see a curveball in there too. The reason for this is because the scores are all coming out. They're coming out so close, and I know lots of winners. So nothing against winners, but I think I made it a little harder. So let's start with the person who overwhelmingly, I don't know how you could possibly do this for me. I don't even think you could try and get this many wrong. Brad, you are a winner. So for you, you get a pig stock koozie,
Nice,
and a little bottle of Tanqueray.
all right. I'll try again this week.
I had 3 ties in first place, but as we all know, you have to be here to collect your prize. So my 2 first prizes go to, first one goes to Ross. Ross deployed, I'm going to show you a sheet. Ross deployed the almost all home game strategy.
Not bad, Fred.
Well, if you'd stuck with it, you'd deviated for a long time. There's a nice hat.
All right.
And my other winner is the guy who's on a roll. Guy Armando. That's 3 weeks in a row, right? Sure. Thank you. There you go.
What service are you using?
All right, so leave the sheets on the tables or hand it to me before we leave.
Great.
Good luck.
Thank you. Matthew?
Morning, everybody. We're lucky to have Gene with us this morning, just the day before our project begins tomorrow. I know I've sent out emails. I don't know if you've got them, but I'll send some more out. I don't know the address off the top of my head, so I apologize. Project Rebuild starts tomorrow. It's going to be back around. I think we've got 5 people in the morning and maybe 4 people in the afternoon. So if you have the time, it'd be great if you can help us. Okay.
902 Benjamin Street.
It changed.
No,
925,
yeah.
925 borders.
I got thrown a curveball on
Yeah. 95 orders.
925 Borders.
Borders Terrace.
Thank you.
Couple of announcements, other than Project Rebuild the Ramp. World's Greatest Meal is Saturday, October 9th at Guy's house. If you can't come, you better dig deep in that purse because we're raising money for the foundation. And then Pig Stock is November 6th, Saturday, November 6th. And I will send out email this week, probably tomorrow, if you want to purchase tickets or sponsor or whatever to that event.
I'm going to send a kind of a formal invite to everybody. I'm trying to get organized on it. Carrie's actually leaving town, so we're going to have a keg. I'm going to send the e-invite to everybody. Anybody that wants to come is absolutely welcome. I'm going to ask if you're coming and not cooking to maybe come a little later, so 4 o'clock again. And then the people that want to come, I'm going to ask the people that are cooking to come a little earlier so we can talk strategy for the pig stock. So there's a little bit of planning we can do. So I'll see everybody October 9th, right?
Yes, you will.
Bring you $20.
So before we introduce our speaker, Dale Harrell is going to do a business highlight.
Good morning, I'm Dale Harrell. Hello, everybody. I work for Self-Help. Self-Help, you may or may not be familiar with, but Self-Help is a community development financial institution. We have grown exponentially since our founding by Martin Eakes, a native of Greensboro, North Carolina. So my organization definitely has a Greensboro root. Many of you who have been Rotarians a long time probably know Patrick Eakes. Patrick is Martin's nephew. So we definitely have Greensboro roots for Self-Help. We have credit unions on the East Coast, in Chicago, and substantial presence in California. Well, what I do, I work for Self-Help Ventures Fund, which is our non-depository loan fund that is actually sanctioned, believe it or not, by the Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta, because we make a national secondary market in non-conforming residential mortgages for poor people, mainly. That's what we're all about, is helping folks build wealth. And so what I do in Self-Help Ventures Fund and what we do, we own, for example, Revolution Mill in Self-Help Ventures Fund, which is the part of I'm not on that team, but that's part of the part of the organization that I work for. That is our largest real estate that we own. We were also lead lender in the downtown renovation of Durham in the early part of the 2000s. So we're all about community development. I personally do SBA 504 lending. I am the only one in the triad that does that. It is an SBA funded program that we generally partner with a commercial bank, sometimes a non-bank lender, to do 2 things only: owner-occupied commercial real estate and durable equipment, such as durable manufacturing equipment. Manufacturers that I've done, I can think of one in High Point. I've done three equipment loans for them over the last few years. Each one of those projects was about $3 million each. But the 504 program is for anybody that needs or wants a good deal on owner-occupied commercial real estate for your business. It is the best deal out there. The bank will take a 50%. Generally, the bank's going to do half of the project at their rates with a minimum 10-year maturity. The SBA, we will fund with the SBA generally between 30 and 40% usually of the project to take a second lien on the building or the durable equipment. The good news is our part is funded directly by the SBA. It is totally different from the 7A program, which is a guarantee of a bank's program that they'd be more familiar with. but the SBA directly funds these, and we have 20 and 25-year fixed rates. I've got this year's rate history on your table there, and you can see that our last funding was actually and remains below 3% effective rate fixed for 25 years. For real estate. It's one hell of a deal that we're out there. I've personally been involved with the program since 2004, been with self-help since 2003. Ran our Charlotte office till we disassembled it during the Great Recession. And then just switched over and started doing lending. Came to Greensboro in 2014, although started working up here from Charlotte in 2009. So been working in Greensboro for a long time. But it's really a fairly well-kept secret. As I said, not that anybody's trying to keep it secret. As I said, I'm the only one in the triad that does it. And it's a great deal. You know, it stabilizes your long-term occupancy cost because that's not going to change. The bank's going to, they're going to want to have a 10-year balloon most likely in it. So your rate is subject to change. But once it's locked in, then it's yours. It's yours for the duration. So it's a great deal. And we know how to do it. Yes.
You have 2 payments then?
Yes, you have one to the SBA. It's drafted out generally on the 5th of the month, and then one to the bank. That's correct. You have 2 separate notes. And the way it works is the bank actually funds the SBA's portion. We can do anything ranging from ground up construction to a simple purchase of a building that you're moving into. Yes, sir.
Is the bank loan generally higher or lower than that?
Generally, the bank loan's got to be a little higher than that, most likely. And they're not going to have 25-year fixed rate. You can count on that. Yes, guys.
Is it for financial hardship or is it for anybody?
No, this is an economic development program. And sometimes I run into people that I have to really work hard because they have too much cash. Okay, it's a great deal. And it is an economic development program, been around since the 80s.
Geographically economic development? What does that mean, economic development?
It is a program designed to create jobs growth. And if you think about it, if you own your own business, one of the ways you can personally build wealth and prosper is by renting from yourself instead of somebody else. I can help you do that.
You can go outside the triad, right?
I cover the state. There are 3 of us that cover the state, although any of us can go anywhere in the state. Officially, I cover the western half of North Carolina from about Burlington all the way out. I've done, yes, sir.
I was going to ask you what generally, obviously financial criteria, the ability to repay the loan, but what other aspects of a loan are you looking for? Let's say I wanted to buy a building. What would I need to bring to you or show you?
Well, it needs to be, if it's an existing building, you need to have 51% owner occupancy of the building. You can lease out up to 49%. If you're building a new building, it becomes 60-40. We just look for, we look for the reasonable ability to pay, and eligibility is the big thing. Most businesses are eligible as long as they are for profit. Nonprofits are not eligible for this program. Yes, sir, Guy.
So what if you owner occupy and vacate your portion? Does that fall the line?
Well, it is an event of technical default, but nobody ever does anything about it. Okay. As long as you make your payments. Yes, sir.
Are you in the self-help building downtown or are you at Revolution?
Well, actually, I'm not at either. The self-help building downtown, we still own it. And while my days in First Union, I visited it a lot. We don't have any operations in there anymore. We closed our Greensboro old-fashioned self-help office after we bought the credit union here. My office is actually up on Battleground. I'm on the 2nd floor of self-help credit.
Self-help credit.
Yeah, I'm on Battleground, almost directly across from the whole shopping center there. is where my office is. And Revolution Mill is the largest piece of real estate that we own and operate. We got into that via foreclosure. It was a participation with B of A, and they made it convenient for us to end up owning it. So we continue redeveloping the property, and I think it's been successful.
Thank you.
Anyway, it's a fun thing to do, and it's things I've done. Gosh, manufacturer, I've done. I named 3 manufacturers in the triad that I've done substantial loans for. Anybody's eligible for up to $5.5 million in SBA financing. So that's the cap I operate under. The total project can usually run $10 to $12 million. The hotels, done, you name it. Probably my most fun loan I've ever done was in Hot Springs, North Carolina. Did that 2 years ago. And Hot Springs has total population of 575. It's 10 miles from the Tennessee border, northwest of Asheville. But they have the Hot Springs, and it's been a tourist attraction now for 200 years. And when you leave Georgia on the Appalachian Trail, the first town you come to, where the trail actually goes through a town, is Hot Springs, North Carolina. And the trail runs just past their front door.
Well, this is the last meeting of this quarter. This is the second one because it's the first one.
Oh, yes.
Well, as you know, a lot of you know Gene Brown. He's the president and executive director of Community Housing Solutions, a nonprofit group, and they do repairs for homeowners, that just can't physically or financially afford it. And they use volunteer groups like Rotary. Unfortunately, Bobby and I won't be there. I know his cameras at the bottom of the lake can't care for you, so he wouldn't be helping anyway. My apartment was terrible. But previously, Jim was in a group of health insurance business for 22 years before taking on this job. And he's a Rotarian. He's with Greensboro Airport, former JC, and a graduate of Leadership, North Carolina. He's been married for 30 years to Lisa, and they have 4 wonderful grown children. And they just moved to a Glenwood neighborhood a few years ago and live in a 96-year-old house. So I'm sure that's a lot of fun working on that. So Gene's going to tell us about Community Housing Solutions and Project Rebuild. Thanks for doing this last minute for us.
Not a problem. Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure being here. And excited to be here. I almost went to the O'Henry Hotel this morning. I know. Redirect. And for those of you that may need a makeup meeting at the Airport Rotary, where I belong, we're actually meeting in Wellspring right now. Thanks to Steve Fleming. We had some issues, not issues, but during COVID and everything, when we opened back up, we weren't able to go back to the Cardinal. So Steve Fleming is opening his place. He's a member of our Rotary Club. So we meet at Wellspring. So if you are making something else, don't go to the Cardinal. A couple of quick comments not on my presentation. Number one, I'm real disappointed the Packers are not on this list. I'm a huge Green Bay Packer fan, so disappointed, but anyways. The other thing, the keg party or the beer, true story. And it was a member that will remain undisclosed from your club. About 6 or 7 years ago, you guys were doing a roof. And at the end of the day, the leader that was recruiting volunteers brought about 2 or 3 cases of beer to enjoy after being on a roof. And I said that when I heard about it, later that day, I didn't get a chance to. I called him next week and I said, nonprofit and beer in the news, working on a roof doesn't do good. So we'll have beverages on the job site, but non-alcoholic is for later. And finally, Dale, thanks for sharing about self-help. I'm going to share a little bit more about Community Housing Solutions. We have a home building program. We do some new construction and rehab of homes, selling them to low-income families. And we have a construction loan. I've had one for over 10 years with self-help. Wonderful organization that is helping people build wealth And in our case, it's allowing us to build homes and sell to low-income families that have a job, qualify for a mortgage, and that allows us to do that.
Thank you. I had no idea.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about community housing solutions, but I was just kind of led when I came in and Bobby said to me, oh, you started community housing solutions. And then just hearing some of the comments that I thought I would share, it's really intentional that Rotary is involved with community housing solutions. And I thought I'd share a little bit about that. And then I'm going to share a little bit about community housing solutions and the partnerships we have in the community that you may not be aware of. It's really pretty cool when you bring organizations together and what you can achieve. And then finally, I'll just briefly share about the Sly sisters that you'll be serving with a ramp. Two young women in their 90s that need a ramp. And Lucy Sly and her sister live at 925 Borders Terrace Road. But community housing solutions and given the bio, I worked in corporate America for 22 years. Companies like United Healthcare, PHP, Travelers Insurance Company. So healthcare and employee benefits was kind of my background. I managed sales and account management team working with businesses in the community. My faith plays a huge role in my life. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and between my faith and then joining Rotary in 2002, many of you may know Corey Newton. I was moved by service above self, which is one of the core attributes of Rotary. And I had a moment in 2005, and I won't give you the long story, but I had a moment in 2005. My wife and I and our family lived out in Northwest Greensboro. I work out every morning, well, 3 days, not every morning, at the Spears Family YMCA. And I had a morning at about 6:45 when I was going back to my car in 2005 where God says, quit your job. And I could do my job in my sleep. I don't know if you've ever had these moments, but I was like, I'm doing this work. I was successful, but I was bored. And with consultation with my wife, and because we had we have 4 kids, 2 were just about graduating from college and had 2 still in school. With the permission of my wife and much prayer, we went on this journey. And so from that point, it was through Rotary. And this is a testimony for our visitor here, and I apologize, I forgot your first name, but just what Rotary can do, because I volunteered. When I was out of work, for 1.5 years. Didn't expect it to be that long, just searching where I was supposed to be next. And it was through volunteering in the first Project Rebuild. Believe it or not, it's 15 years we've been doing Project Rebuild. It's just amazing to support the Rotary. And through volunteering with Project Rebuild, I got connected with a nonprofit, which at the time was called Housing Greensboro. We changed our name when we expanded into Guilford County. And it was from that experience, not that Rotary can give all of us jobs, but it gave me exposure and a connection. And leading and working with community housing solutions, it has stretched me beyond, when you're involved in something that's beyond yourself. We live in a world today that's so much about self, social media and everything else. But when you get involved with something that's bigger than yourself, it's not easy, but it's just incredible to see how life becomes just exciting and challenging and the things that can be accomplished with that. So it's really a testimony to Rotary. We've had the City Rotary and Airport Rotary had members of the club that really got Project Rebuild started, and then all 8 clubs. And actually it's growing with a lot of different satellite clubs and new clubs. But Project Rebuild and Rotary have played a huge impact on community housing solutions from board members. Robert Gray is on our board right now. If you know Erica Parker in the Summit Club, she's on our board. We've had other past board members. So it's really neat to share with you a little bit about where we are. But I want to give credit. It's far beyond. I mean, I've had the pleasure of working with the organization, but it's really bringing the community together to accomplish a lot. So let me just share. There we go. So a couple of quick slides before I get into the partnerships that Rotary has. So I like to say we're a nonprofit, but we're a nonprofit general contractor. We're a licensed general contractor. Half of our employees, we have 13 employees, 10 are full-time. 6 of those full-time employees are construction staff. So we're actually a nonprofit, but we're certified to do a lot of work with older adults, which are the majority of the people we serve. And we have 2 programs. We have a home repair program, of which Project Rebuild is part of. We invest $1 million a year in preserving homes in Guilford County, predominantly for older adults and disabled homeowners that can't physically or financially do the work themselves. The other major demographic is typically single parents with kids, and these days, a lot of times it's grandparents with grandchildren. It's not necessarily a mother or a father with children. So we invest $1 million in home repair, and then we have a home buyer program. We do, we either buy vacant lots or we buy vacant homes that may be in foreclosure, rehab them or build a new home and sell them to qualified low-income homeowners. That is a program. We do about 8 homes a year. So it's not like Habitat where they do a lot more and they're focused on new construction. But we do what I call scattered site infill within communities that we work in both Greensboro and High Point. And I'll share a little bit more about that. And that's about $1.5 million. So we're about a $2.5 million nonprofit organization here in the community. We typically do about 150 to 160 home repairs a year. COVID impacted us because we couldn't go inside homes. We had to treat a lot of our homeowners as if it was a nursing home. So we were just doing outside repairs. We had to stop using volunteers. That 156 number, typically it's 800 to 900 volunteers a year. And Rotary is a huge impact on that. But last year we did 123 homes. We stayed open the whole time, and because we were considered an essential business. And we also had the ability, as we did less repairs, we were able to shift our staff to work into new construction. So thankfully, we were able to adapt. Many of you, I'm sure, in your organizations had to do the same. But this was last year with some of the faces from our impact report. Oops, keep going the wrong way, sorry about that. So, boy, duct tape can fix anything, right? So we work in a lot of bathrooms and kitchens. If you're an older adult, the most dangerous room in your house is the bathroom. It's wet and it's hard surfaces. And this was an elderly woman years ago. I think the Greensboro Rotary Club did this repair as part of the Project Rebuild. That's duct tape with plastic because the tile had fallen off. And she was, the woman was having a hard time and her son getting in and out of the tub. So we put a walk-in shower in that particular house. We also built a ramp. You are right, normally your club does roofs. We do a lot of roofs. This year, our greatest need was ramps. And we talked with Matthew and others on the team, said we'd like to do ramps. The other thing with the spike up of the Delta variant, we're really leery of bringing a lot of volunteers into a home with an older adult. So we're doing all outside repairs with the majority of our volunteers right now until kind of numbers drop a little bit. But water damage is the #1 thing that we do in terms of repairing that. But we like to say we make homes warmer, drier, and safer. So we do a lot of heating repair. We have funding through Piedmont Natural Gas. We also have a wonderful partnership with North Carolina A&T University, where they are funding weatherization services for low-income families. And we're partnering and referring homeowners to them. It helps make homes warmer. And then the safer piece with the ramps that we'll be doing with Project Rebuild.
I bet Greensboro put up the duct tape and we came back and.
It might be. Keep going the wrong way. But let me tell you about a really exciting partnership. We got a chance, and I shared a little bit maybe 3 or 4 years ago when we were in the pilot phase, I think, the Gate City, and we're now fully up in partnership with Cone Health. We got selected as one of 4 sites across the country to do a demonstration project through the National Center for Healthy Housing and Johns Hopkins University. Their nursing school developed a program called Aging Gracefully, tested it in Baltimore, and they said, we want to see other markets and how this might roll out. So Greensboro, Scranton, Pennsylvania, Burlington, Vermont, and San Diego, California were chosen to test this program. It was so successful here with the clients that we did, we decided to launch it as a full-fledged program. And basically the concept is, instead of our staff and volunteers going in and making accessibility modifications, We have an occupational therapist, which is kind of like the quarterback of the team. An occupational therapist from Cone Health, actually through Triad Healthcare Network, which is a subsidiary of Cone, serves the over 65 population, with a registered nurse and one of our staff members that goes in working with the older adult, assessing what they need based upon their health, based upon their mobility, and based upon their house. So we do things such as the walk-in shower that you saw, grab bars, transfer benches, lever door handles. If you have arthritis, opening around door handle is horrible. Hand railings getting in and out, and then sometimes ramps. And it has been huge. You can even see even some simple things, the plywood and the cushion. The program is all built around what the client's goals are. What does that senior want? This particular woman said, I love my couch, but I can't get out of it. So we literally built a piece of plywood and slid it in there. And that was one of the best things. Very inexpensive thing to do, but for her, that was huge for her. You can see grab bars, a ramp, and then the shower. So these types of things wrapped around health education. So the occupational therapist goes in afterwards and trains them how to maneuver around in and out of the tub with grab bars, safe ways to get off. So it prevents falls. An older adult going to the hospital after a fall, minimum, Cone Health says 20 grand. 20 grand to go into the emergency and treat a fall. And then, you know, when you go into the hospital, sometimes other things can happen as well. So Cone Health is involved with us, and this has been a really, really super partnership and hugely impactful with older adults that we're really excited to do. This year, we're on track to doing 50 of these aging gracefully. That's a subset of our home. Okay, so this is really exciting. And or exciting because I heard the comment about solar energy. So let me share about another partnership. So this is a family that bought a house in High Point. We work in both High Point and Greensboro, coordinating with the city because they have to assist us in the funding of the work. But we build new homes or rehab existing homes and sell them. So this is one of our 8 families and their young son. They're all excited. They had never owned a home. But we're doing in Greensboro, it may seem like a long time ago, but 3 years ago, we had the tornado. So we did a lot of repairs for the tornado. That was the focus of Project Rebuild in 2018. We're now building single family homes in vacant lots where the home was destroyed and had to be demolished. And so we're building homes in Greensboro, in the East Greensboro area where the path of the tornado was, and selling homes to qualified home buyers. And then in High Point, if you're familiar with the Cedro Drive area, it's kind of just east of High Point University, near Carroll's Martin Luther King. The Cedro Drive, the city of High Point has 17 lots, and they've asked us to build homes in this particular area as well. So that's where we're building homes. But and these folks qualify for mortgages, so we're not doing the financing on the mortgage piece, we're just financing the construction. And then the cities help us in these neighborhoods that are predominantly lower income. We're building 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses on average, about 1,500 square feet. But the sales price in these neighborhoods where the real estate values are depressed, a for-profit builder could not build a house and sell it and make any money. Because we're selling them for around 140 to 160, and our costs are around 175 to 190, depending on the size of the house. But the cities in each of those locations recognize the value of home ownership. I don't know if you know this, but a higher percentage of home ownership in the community, the lower rate of crimes, prostitution, and drugs. So we are all about preserving home ownership in these neighborhoods because in many of the low-income neighborhoods, it's flipped. They have a higher percentage of rental properties, consequently, higher rates of others. And there's nothing wrong with rent. I'm getting to the age where I wish I rented, didn't have to mow my lawn and maintain my house. But we're really trying to promote home ownership and preserve it through our program. But when they buy the homes, the one thing we don't want to do is cut corners and provide a house that's going to have really high maintenance and utility costs. So we work with Systems Vision out of Raleigh. Or System Vision is the program. Advanced Energy is the company out of Raleigh. And they certify our homes through a program and provide a 2-year rate guarantee. So this house in Greensboro, in East Greensboro, on Eastwood Avenue, where Shay Peoples bought the house about a month ago, she has a heating and cooling guarantee of $44 a month. That's for heating and cooling. That's not all of lighting and cooking, but just for heating and cooling. They guarantee that because of the work we do following their model of energy efficiency. So not only are we providing a beautiful house for Shay and her family to live in, but also we're providing a house that's going to be sustainable where she's not going to have high bills. I talk with homeowners that buy our homes and they see this and they're almost in tears. They're like, I've been paying $250, $300, $350 bills when they were renting in a poor energy efficient house, a poor house. And they see this and they're like, the disposable income that allows them to have is just incredible. And the partnership that I want to talk about, and this is really, really neat. So we're working with A&T, as I mentioned, on a repair program with weatherization. And through that process, there's a national foundation for historically Black colleges and universities that heard about the work that A&T was doing with the state of North Carolina here in Greensboro through homeowners that we serve with repairs. And they said, we love what you're doing. Do you have homeowners that could use solar? We have funding to provide grants for up to 15 homeowners to test solar energy with low income, in a low income community that's around North Carolina A&T University. So Shay Peoples is not only getting an energy efficiency house. What we did is we've had education meetings. I don't know if you know Bob Powell with North Carolina A&T. He's in the East Greensboro Rotary Club. He and I have been doing these solar panel sessions with a company out of Raleigh that's they're really doing the education. We're just helping to facilitate. But we have 12 homeowners that have bought one of our homes because you have to have a relatively new roof to make the best for solar. And so we have 12 homeowners in East Greensboro that are going to get solar panels installed at no cost to allow them to experience it. And then hopefully, when you throw a stone into the water and you have that ripple effect, we're hoping that others that can afford in those communities, so there'll be more discussion around that. So it's really exciting. We haven't installed them yet, but we've had the education sessions and they've discussed the parameters of it. And hopefully later this fall, these homes will have solar panels on them as well. Yeah.
Without including the solar, that $45 a month you said is not for all the electrical use. How does that translate to what their true electrical bill will be? You compared it to $250, $300 a month. What's the real number? 85 or?
Yeah, they Advanced Energy at the end of the year, they analyze their electric utilization through Duke Energy. They have to get access to the bills through Duke Energy that the homeowner sets up. And then they adjust it by the time of the year. Because obviously during the summer, you're going to have high cooling costs, and during the winter, you're going to have high heating costs or higher. And so they have a formula based on the size of the house and the testing that we do to where they adjust it what your heating and cooling costs should be. Yeah.
But you have a rule of thumb, like 1,500 square foot houses. That doesn't include lighting.
He's asking, is lighting?
What's the real number? What's the monthly payment going to be relative to the 250, 300?
Yeah, I don't know what that would be. I can tell you that typically when we do energy efficiency work, it's saving between just the heating, it typically saves them around $600 to $700. Yeah, but I don't know what the total cost
right,
would
well,
be.
I would guess that the heating and air conditioning is 60% of the average person's.
I would think so. The water heater is going to be big, but other than that,
and then this year with Project Rebuild, it really ties in serve and change lives. I never realized the value of a ramp until a woman, when we did a ramp probably 10 years ago, she said to one of our volunteers, who's a board member, Dave Maynard, who's a former Duke Energy executive. He's retired and volunteers with us, and he helped build this ramp. And this woman shared about how she was a prisoner in her own home. And as she went out the ramp for the first time, she said, "Thank you, Lord, I'm free at last. Thank you, Lord." I will never forget those are hers. And he recited them to me and he said, "Gee, you don't realize these ramps give people freedom and change lives." And that's what we're doing this year with Rotary, building ramps. This is our 15th year that I shared. These are some pictures from last year. You all were up on that roof last year. And you can see we're wearing masks. The good thing this year is you don't need to wear masks outside. We are wearing masks when we go inside, but all of the 8 ramps are obviously outside. So no need to wear ramps, or should wear masks when we're working this year. But these are some pictures from last year that we did in the different work. You all were at 847 Muncie Lane on that roof. And this year we're building access ramps, and it's 925 Borders Terrace. And it's Lucy Sly and her sister, I'm drawing a blank on her name. They are both in their 90s. I think one is actually 99 and the other is 92. They are spry women. You'll enjoy meeting them. We actually found out about this. We do a lot of members. Genesis Baptist Church approached us and called me and said, "You have these members that need a ramp, can you help out?" And so we set up a temporary ramp. We have 600 linear feet of temporary ramp that we use for people in hospice that need it for temporary use, people coming home from the hospital, or as a bridge until we can build a permanent ramp with volunteers like yourself. So we'll be building a ramp for them. The first day you'll be taking down the existing ramp and then beginning to repair. So tomorrow we'll be initially taking down the aluminum ramp, which will take a couple of hours, and then you'll be building a permanent ramp. And Matthew has the details, and Paul Baldwin from our staff will be leading that project with you. So that is all that I have. See if I left any time. Well, it's 8:01. I can hang around if anyone has any questions, or can take them now. The other thing I'll just mention, we do an annual ambassadors breakfast event. Last year we did virtual. We were thinking we were going to do an in-person event this year. We are going to do, we made a recent decision to go virtual as well. For this will be November 16th, but there will be videographers traveling around, taking pictures, and we'll have more information about that later.
Remind me when we start, what time?
8:30?
8.
Yeah, 8:30 in the morning.
8:30, thank
Yep, 8:30.
Any questions for Jim? Have one more.
All right. So I just read the last three numbers. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4.
Yep.
1, 2, 4.
Hey, nice to see you here. Thank you, Gene.
Rubber.
Still alive. Still alive. Have a good meeting.